All right, now let's go over how to cut with the sword. It's very important. So we draw the sword out. We're right here. Now, one thing when you're holding the sword, I want you to imagine that you're shaking somebody's hand. You shake somebody's hand like this, that's how you hold the sword. You roll the fingers. Again, shake hand, put the sword in your hand. Shake hand, put the sword in your hand. Holding firm, almost like you're holding a live bird. You want to hold it so that it can't get away, but not so hard where you kill it either. So you want to hold firm. Now the guard's right here. With the web of your hand and the guard, there should be enough room for like a ping pong ball to fit there. Now, another very important thing when you're holding the sword is the web of your hand should be on the top of the sword. It shouldn't be to the side like this. A lot of times I see XMA style guys where they hold the sword and they're like, ah. The only problem is you have no power. Sure, it looks fancy and stuff, but it's not going to cut bamboo or straw. Only thing that's going to happen is if it gets stuck or your hands are going to come off. So make sure that the web of your hands are on the top of the sword. Now, when you're cutting, your left hand, that's your power hand. Your right hand, that is what guides the sword. Left hand pulls, right hand guides. One thing I don't want you to do is left hand pull and right hand pushing hard. That's not cutting. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Now, in order to cut, let's just work on doing a straight cut down. I'm going to lift the sword up. Now, I want you to touch your back to over-exaggerate the motion to develop a full range of motion. As you get better, you'll just start here. But for now, touch your back. You're going to pull up. The hands aren't down like this. They're up. You're going to reach out like you're casting a fishing rod. Again, back, cast out. All the way down to your hips. And your arms straighten. Almost like you're wringing out a wet towel. So again, I'm going to reach back. I'm going to cast out and cut. One thing that's very important is when I cut, if I just pull with my hands like this, it becomes more of a chopping motion than a cutting motion. In order to cut with the sword, you have to create tip speed. So when I'm here, I'm going to cast with my hand, but then eventually the sword tip is going to get faster, and that's what's going to create the cutting motion. So again, you want to cast and throw the sword tip out so you get a full range of motion and you create a good cutting motion. Now, when you cut, when you finish the cut, it should end up in the middle of your body and the sword tip should be about parallel to the floor. And the sword tip, if you're pushing here with your right hand, the tip's going to bounce. If you pull with the left hand, it'll stop in place. So now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way so you can see. Again. Good. That is how you cut with the sword. Reach back, hands are up. They're not down like this. They're up high, cast out, and then down. As you get better, you don't have to touch your back, but I recommend it for beginning students so that you develop a full range of motion in your cuts. Now again, when you cut, web of your hand on the top, you should be able to adjust it. Same thing with an angle cut. Here, back is straight, shoulder rotates, the web of my hand, if I adjust it, is still here. You adjust your body, not your hands around your sword when you're doing your cuts. That's the basic